Hello, one and all, and welcome to round 15 of the League Europe Division 2 Championship. We are gathered here today at the Sochi International Circuit here in Russia for the 15th round of D2 Championship. Still in favour of Gary Donegan, but of course we had XL Dan make a bit of a comeback with a win in the last race then. I'm Daka, I'll be taking you through this alongside my co-commentator, Mr. Verstappen. How are you doing today?
Hello everyone, welcome to the stream here, and yeah, I'm doing quite well. So we have here at Sochi, of course, been a build-up from the Olympic Park in 2014, so let's see, should be an exciting race, I reckon.
Yeah, it's ever not an exciting race from D2. And, well, I believe Maledictus is our first car out on track, so once again, Gary's letting us down, but we'll move on regardless. So, we're going to keep an eye out on that QVR Maledictus then. Here it's Sochi, 19 corner track. Probably not the doesn't have the best reputation in real life, but usually produces quite good races in the game, so hopefully we get a good show on here. So I believe you have the championship standings here. If you want to run us through that then, and let us know how things are looking.
Yeah, so it's Gary Donegan leading on 195 points, 29 points ahead of XCI Dan on 166, and 18 points behind that we have Cookie Games on 148. So those three are usually quite close. And let's see how that develops today here in Sochi.
Yeah, I know a lot of drivers have been, like, obviously the usual comparing times throughout the week. I think a lot of drivers are quite confident going into this race and expect to do quite well. And I'm expecting this qualifying session to be very tight. So let's have a look and see how things are going to look. I expect the pole time to be a mid to high 30. I think that's the ballpark that we're looking for here. Anyway, we'll keep an eye how that evolves. QVR Maledictus will kick off his first flying lap then in the Red Bull. Of course, he's had a very incident-packed season. Some things out of his control, obviously, so he'll be hoping to finally catch a break, have a good race there. In to turn 2 it is there. The first major braking zone on the track, takes it in third gear, runs a little bit wide though, and that's going to be invalid, unfortunately, for the Portuguese. So we'll go back to Super Gamer now as he swoops through turn 4 then, and now looking into turn 5. Got to keep it tight, run onto the curb on entry there, flick it through the apex there, and power through on exit out of the first sector now, and looking to get onto the brakes. Hits the inside curb at turn 6, nice and clean there as Maledictus looks like he's going to pull over, let him through, no trouble then. Through turn 8 then after the kick at 7 and out, through 9, takes it in 5th gear, runs it out just a little bit wide, through again another kick at turn 10, now into turn 11, onto the straight, takes quite a little curve on the inside, no invalidation, and he will continue then in the Alfa Romeo, blasting down the straight there, kink at turn 12 and now into 13, and the heavy braking zone at turn 14 then, takes it nice and smoothly, opens up turn 15, running out on to the outside curb, keep the throttle down, now through turn 16 there, take a lot of curb on the inside, try and keep it tight so you can really open up that turn 17, little bit of oversteer for the Alfa on exit then, in to the final 2 corners, misses the apex just a slight bit, through turn 18, then through turn 19, nice and clean to the line, it's a 31.8, that'll be the time to open up your qualifying session. Let's see how the rest of the drivers fare up.
And it's Axel Gary coming through the last couple corners, down into the last corner in 2nd gear, and he's coming across the line in a 131.34 flat, and that's a decent lap time for the Racing Point driver Matty in P2, and B Morgan just takes that over in 10.5 behind Gary. The crew into P4, and I think it's Dan into P5 there.
Yeah, early times coming down as Gary on top then. Morgan looking fairly pacey though, it must be said, and he got another time, I believe that's Nico that has put himself into P3 then, backing up his teammate as he so often does in these sessions, and you can see the early times coming in. YHYY also onto the board. I'm looking to see drivers potentially near the end. I think that's Oysen No, he's backed off his lap.
Killable into P3. No, Soft looking very close there.
Yeah, very tight at the top. Look at that. We have less than 0.2 of a second between the top 6. So
yeah, that's once again D2 very close. And I think it's Jaco coming to the end of his lap, coming to turn 18 in 3rd gear, flicks it through nicely, and down into the final corner, 2nd gear, short him to 3rd, and he's up into P2. Really good lap time for the McLaren driver there.
Puts himself right in the mix there. Mark as well on medium tyres, interestingly. Usually he's the guy going the softest compound. He comes over the line and predictably is off the pace on these tyres, but Mark, obviously, I love this from Mark, because he's always the guy that when everyone else is on mediums, he's the one on soft. So that's quite a sight to behold. Then seeing him at least going for a banker lap on the mediums to open the session.
I'm trying to find anyone on the laps, and
I think Daniel might be on the lap. He's in the mediums as well. Don't expect much variation in the strategies at this track. It's quite a easy strategy here, soft to medium or medium to soft if you're outside the top 10 looking for an alternative. So usually you don't see much variation at this racetrack then, Daniel. You wouldn't expect him to go too far up the leaderboard being on mediums, but of course that time of Mark will be a target for the Haas driver then, breaking down into turn 16 and 17 there, keeps it nice and clean, runs it out onto that outside curb, avoids the oversteer and keeps the lap going now into the final 2 corners. He derates though, so he won't have that extra horsepower propelling him along, but it's just a short run to the line, and he is able to top that time Mark by about half a second, so Mark maybe not getting the best lap in. I believe Oysen has just started a lap himself then, so let's go forward with the Irishman there as he goes into turn 1.
Yeah, turn 1 of course being a flat out king for the 25, reaching 340 at the end of the straight, down into the chicane of 2 and 3, down into 30 seconds even for the Irishman. On the exit takes a white line, needs to take it tight here and down into turn 4, keeps it nicely, cling, steady apex, and down into turn 5 on the N3. She flicks it in 3rd, back up to 4th, revs out the engine quite a bit, and comes across the sector 1 split time, down into turn 6. 4th gear, has a bit of oversteer on the exit into the kink of 7 and now into 8, which is quite a difficult corner to get right. 3rd gear, runs a little bit wide, down into the double left-hander of 9 and 10. Nice apex there by the Williams driver. Again in 3rd gear for turn 11, important corner because you have this straight here. DRS has opened up into turn 12, which is also a flat-out kink. Almost unnoticeable down into 13, again a flat kink, and 14 heavy braking zone. Need to take it tight, open up before turn number 15, runs a bit wide onto the curb there. Now down into the off-camber 16 and 17 chicane. And takes it quite easy, nicely, and makes sure he has the lap set down into the final 2 corners, into 3rd gear, into turn 18. And coming across the line in 2nd gear, 1st even, and coming across the line 131.357, only 70 thousandths behind Axel Gary.
Putting himself right in the mix there is Oysen there. That's an impressive lap from the Williams man, and he will put himself up in the mix. I'm looking to the chat then, and your good friend Spag and Chips, tell Verstappen that he needs to eat a cactus. So
right, thank you, Lenny.
Great. Anyway, I believe Car Mentalist is on a lap, so I'm just following the Toro Rosso there. He might get a bit of a slipstream actually from XL Garage just up the road. See, he tucks in underneath the rear wing, getting a nice toe down the straight from the championship leader there. That's going to propel him along pretty nicely there. He's on the softest compound of tyres, which is actually quite unusual for him here at Russia. We'll see as he opens up into turn 15, gets a nice exit there on the traction. Now in a turn 16 there, as you mentioned, off camber there, you got to try and hook it into the apex, so you're going to lose a lot of time. Exit the turn 17, gets close to the wall but not quite touching it then. And to the final 2 corners, not fully committed into 18 there, but now he flies it, glides through turn 19, and it's a 32.2, so he may be looking to try and improve on that time. Carmento's 13th, and now his teammate is just going into turn 8, so we'll keep an eye on his progress as well.
Yeah, he went a bit wide out of turn 8, but seems to be still valid. Down at 9 and 10. Difficult corner to get right, but it seems to be doing this quite well. Into turn 11. and gets a decent exit, opens the DRS, but then overtake ERS to get that little bit of extra top speed. That's Maledictus at the fastest lap of the session so far, with 131.325. We watch here Dylan come around turn 15, put on the traction quite nicely there into turn 16 off camber. Does it nicely, cars goes quite light on that corner, but he seems to be doing good. Down into the final 2 corners, into turn 18 and now into 19. Bit of OC on the exit on 18. Let's see, it comes across the line at 131.288 and just improves that fastest time.
And it's
look at V Morgan.
Absolutely obliterated by V Morgan there. We've seen so many incremental improvements in Morgan. This makes a statement. We were expecting drivers to get in the 30s, and that's certainly the closest anyone's got there. Over 2 tenths clear, and that is certainly going to be one to look out for. Still got a number of fast drivers near the end.
Down to P5.
Yeah, Dan also just 1,000th of a second behind his championship rival Gary. We're waiting for the likes of Cookie Games as well. He's just coming down the back straight. Coming across the line into P7. And now Gary around the final corner. Does he top the time of Morgan? No, he can't. He improves by just over 10. So Morgan still at the top for now.
J. Cole to P2.
J. Cole does take P2 then. And now let's look to Mr. Cookie Games, championship contender, of course. Is going through turn 16. Can he put himself up and amongst the front runners there? Runs it just a little bit wide. He's going to keep it going though. Into turn 18, very committed on the entry. He's made just understeer a little bit wide. The car's looking a little bit understeer, but right around the final corner, and it's a 30.9, first car into the 30s. And there is Cookie Games, finally topples that time of Morgan.
And watch McCrew coming across the line, and he's
4,000ths quicker.
Improves that just about by a little bit of margin, and when I say a little bit, it's not much, is it? Mark coming across the final 2 corners as well. Now on Softius on the final corner, 132 flat 7.4, and that puts him only into P16.
I believe I'm trying to see who is on a flyer at the moment there. I saw a car that was on it. Killer Blue has just started one. He's going through turn 4 at the moment there, and a turn 5. Takes it in 4th gear there. A lot of carb on the inside there, runs it out. Of course, we see the form he's been in recently. He'll be looking to get himself in amongst it, but at the moment, first selector, he's just a little bit down and it validates it there on the inside of turn 6. So he won't have the opportunity to improve. As we're in a bit of a quiet point in the session, we've got 5.5 minutes to go. These drivers, of course, will be searching now, looking to get their final runs together there. The preparations will start about now, and yeah, you've got to be looking forward to this then. These drivers gearing up, and they'll be ready to go sooner rather than later. And I believe Oysen may be the next driver to start a lap, so we'll go on board.
Harry Newark as well, but choose your options. We've got a Renault or a Williams, so
we'll go on board with Harry since he hasn't quite set a lap time then. He's into turn 2 now, hits 340 kilometers an hour then, a lot of straight line speed in that car. Gets it out the exit fairly nicely then, hooks it through turn 4, getting onto that inside curve just a little bit. You don't want to cut it too much or it could invalidate your lap. Got to be wise with the line you take there. Briefly into 3rd gear to rotate the car, runs a smidge wide, and he invalidates yet again. It's not been a session he would have planned, I don't think, but we're going back to Oysen now because he's 2 tenths up in his time, and at the moment that's putting himself, if he keeps it going, he could be right in amongst the front runners. Let's keep an eye out on Oysen. He knows 1 lap pace is strong. End at 2, turn 8 then, keeps it nice and clean out to 9 and 10. A lot of carb on the inside. Get that helps because he gets on the throttle early then. The short sprint into turn 11, sorry. Gets on the throttle nice and early once again. It's looking like a good middle sector for the Irishman, currently P9, but of course a little improvement, and that's already putting him up there by 2 places there. He's 4 tenths up. This could be a pole position lap here from Oysen. Can he keep it together in this last sector? It takes a lot of carb on the inside of turn 15. He's going to keep it going now into 16 there. Again, runs maybe just a little bit more wide than he wanted. That's going to compromise this run through 17. Runs it onto the outside curve, has to wait before applying that throttle there. But now he can commit to it. Into these final 2 corners. Takes a lot of curve on the inside and outside there. Straight line it into the final corner. Is it pole position for Oysen? Yes, it is. And it by some margin. Almost 2 tenths clear of McCrew. And with a mistake on that lap as well in the last sector. So Oysen, he is showing that he has superlative pace from here of 30.7. That's going to take some beating.
Definitely is going to take some beating, but there are a few drivers who might be capable of that. Super Gamer, in the meantime, went up into P10. So he'll be quite happy with that, I reckon. There's a few drives on their out laps. I'm just trying to find if anyone's actually on the flyer. Maurice might be. Yeah.
So let's have a look out then. Eloy Maurice takes it, glides it through turn 8 and run it out close to the wall. He's using quite a lot of the track, and of course there's a little bit off there. There's a bit of a gap between him and Matty there. That's where the kind of main competition has been in this session. Maurice will want to get amongst that though, I'm sure. And the Rhino, it's not been a great session for the Rhinos so far, so they've got to try and put themselves up there. Eloy Maurice, he is 6/10 up on his time, so at the moment he's looking to move up quite a few places. Then he glides it through 14, then through 15, there's short shift into 4th, gets the traction down and powers down into turn 16, takes the apex quite nicely there, runs it through 17, a little bit of a hesitation though on turn in, and that costs him significant amounts of time. He's still got a chance to try and pull it back there. So these final 2 corners, takes it in 3rd gear, runs a little bit wide, a lot of curb to turn into that final corner then, and he does lose a little bit of time in that last sector. So it's P13 for now for the Renault, and I believe who else is on a lap then? Dan's just started a lap, Maledictus a little bit further along, so we may look out for the Portuguese as he goes in a turn 10.
Yeah, he goes into that, bit of oversteer on the exit there. And then down into turn left, he might get a slipstream from Cookie Games here, down this straight. And he has the DRS open, and look at that toe. Down into 12 and 13. Cookie will be pulling out quite soon, I reckon. Yes, he will. 340 down that straight, that's amazing. 14 or 14, and then into 15. Shifts up to 4th and 5th quite early on. Gets the traction quite easily there. Down into 16. Tight line is 16 to open up for 17. Quite a nice line again by the Portuguese man. Down into turn 18. Quite committed there on the entry and missed the apex on 19, but comes across the line and is it to P5.
And now he's probably going to return the favour for Cookie Games as well with that slipstream there. Dan, championship contender, is going around the final corner. He's just under a 10th up then, and is able to find just a little bit of time to go ahead of Dylan.
Nico to P9.
Nico P9, and that will probably be it then for the session for these guys. They will not be able to improve, there's not enough time to. So let's go aboard with Mr. Cookie Games and wait to see some of the other times as well then. At the dying point of that session, I believe McCrew is just starting a lap as well. We know the pace that he has, so keep an eye out for that. You're gonna have to keep yourselves up to date. But Cookie Games, we know him now. He needs a good result here. It's absolutely vital for his championship hopes, and that's a good start. That first sector already over 2/10 up and putting himself ahead of Oysen on net possession. So he just has to keep the pace up then through this middle sector into turn 9. Takes a nice little curve on the inside, glides it through turn 10 and 6th gear, and here comes the slipstream from Maledictus. That's going to be key now, and it's going to really assist him then, dragging him down this back straight then. He is in overtake mode, getting the absolute most out of this car then, closing down on his teammate once again. 343 kilometers an hour at the top speed then, down the straight, just about able to get it stopped there. Killer Blue's out the session, Oysen's out the session as well, so he will not improve on that 30.7 then. That's going to be vulnerable to Cookie Games. Nico as well out then, he will not improve on that 31.2. So now Cookie Games, he needs something for his championship hopes. Gary will not qualify higher than 7th. He's currently stuck on a 31.2, so this is a great opportunity for Cookie. Round the final corner as it ends just by 0.04 of a second. We'll wait. McCrew has still got to come round there. And as well, there's a Haas going round the final few corners, YY, up to the line, and he doesn't improve. So now,
McCrew down into the final 2 corners. Let's see, can he improve? Seems really committed through the apex of both these corners. Runs a bit wide in the exit,
he's got it though!
Gets full!
Half a 10!
140.701. And that's a lap from the Williams driver. Anyone else on their lap? Matty's invalidated. Jekyll, is he on the lap perhaps? He seems to be on one, but doesn't seem to be improving. I don't think. Let's see if he can in the final sector pull a bit back. Coming across the final 2 corners, he's basically out of DRS, but it won't assist him too much, and he's not going to improve. And I think that's it. So it's McCrew taking pole ahead of Cookie Games.
Great lap from McCrew right at the end to snatch pole from Cookie. And the Williams have a great qualifying session as well. 2 cars in the top 3. That's not something they've had every day this season, and it looks good for them. Cookie though, despite narrowly missing out on pole, I think he'll be happy with that, because look where his championship rivals are. Gary
7th and 8th.
Dan 8. Gary, who's normally excels in qualifying, no pun intended. I'm kidding, of course. But down in 7th, he has got a lot of work to do. He wants to get up to Cookie. Cookie, of course, has been out qualifying Gary in a lot of the previous rounds, and of course that's not quite translated into results. So he needs to be on his A game now, but McCrew on pole position, I'll leave you to run through it.
Yeah, McCrew on pole position ahead of Cookie, as mentioned before. Oysen and Peak, very good qualifying from him as well. Ahead of B. Morgan, then Jacob and Maledictus in behind. Then the 2 championship rivals as well. Gary and Dan in 7th and 8th. Nico and Dylan round out the top 10. Then it's Super Gamer and YHY on the 6th row. Killabla and Maurice behind that. Rick and Matty completing the 8th row. Daniel and Carmenzelis in 17th and 18th, and then we have Mark and Harry and Works rounding off the grid here at Russia.
The top 18 separated by less than a second. Wow,
that's quite something.
I've just seen in the chat. So Matt Emery, nice to see you back, man. Good to see you in the chat. Yeah, so well, thanks to Mark for pointing that out. I was just going to run through the top 3 in the standings, but yeah, Mark's beating me to it there. It's cool. Anyway, we now prepare for, well, hopefully, nice voice crack, will be a great race here at Russia. I'm not sure about the weather forecast. It looks a little bit overcast, but yeah, we're just gonna have to sit tight, and we'll see how this one comes together. So prepare for the race then. What could be a huge opportunity for Cookie Games to pull back the championship deficit, because he sits probably close to 50 points behind Gary now. He's had a rotten run in the last 3 rounds, and now he has an opportunity to get himself back in. Gary and Dan, they've got work to do if they want to keep their points tally going forward. But Cookie on that front row of McCrew, it's looking good for him. Can he pull the race together?
And as I'll run you through the outside of the top 10, well, it's not much variation, as everyone except Super Gamers on the mediums.
Wow.
They'll be looking to start on mediums and go to the softs at the end. It's quite a predictable strategy, having the mediums go all race even. And I doubt we'll see the hards anytime soon.
No, maybe if a driver gets damaged on the first lap and they're being a bit conservative, then they may opt for the hards. But yeah, that's fairly predictable. Of course, safety cars can play into their hands if it's timed right. Of course, it can very easily work against them as well. But as McCrew, he is always up there in qualifying. He's been threatening on the pace, I think, for a long time, and now he has a real opportunity to get that race win he's been chasing. After, of course, missing out in Monaco, I think was a big example of how he wasn't quite able to convert. But Cookie, I expect we'll give him a run for his money. What's Oysen's role in this lead battle going to be though? Because I don't. Sorry, go on.
It's going to be quite entertaining to see if he's going to try to battle Cookie, or is he going to go for his own money and go for his own luck on the win, really.
Of course, the advantage that particularly Oysen and Morgan have over Cookie and McCrew is that slipstream. It's a very long run down into the first braking point of turn 2. And of course, with that draft, and if we get a good start, it'll put them in serious good position there. But McCrew will be vulnerable. It's probably one of the hardest tracks, maybe besides Mexico, to convert pole position into the first corner. So he's going to have his work cut out. He's going to need a rocket launch off the start if he wants a chance. But anyway, the top 11, of course, on those soft tyres, they'll be vying for position at the start as McCrew glides them round, and we'll get this race underway very shortly.
Yeah, just line up to the grids, make sure you have your tyres quite warmed up. So that will be, of course, important going off the line, getting a good start. But yeah, slipstream, as mentioned, will be quite vital here.
Yes, indeed. So, the rear end of the field, gliding round, and the last car here in the work takes his spot at the back of the grid. But it is McCrew who put himself on pole position so brilliantly. Can he convert it? Those questions will be answered in the next 27 laps. 3, 4, 5 lights. And we're away here at Russia. McCrew gets a decent launch away from the line there. Cookie Games immediately cuts into the slipstream there. He's managed to deny that from Oyson. Further back there, Morgan was not quick away from the line. He's coming under pressure from both sides there as Cookie tucks into the slipstream to the outside of McCrew. Down in turn 2. Can he get it stuck? McCrew makes very late and he's going to convert that then. Ariel clean in the background there. Jacob up to 4th then. As further back, Gary is able to jump Maledictus as McCrew runs away. VSC as there's an incident in the back with Maurice and Killer Blue as Cookie is able to get that lead off of McCrew, and that's going to be crucial then as we'll get back to racing shortly.
Yes, I expect that. I'm just looking position changes, not too much except of course Maurice and Killer Blue losing out quite a few. But yeah, it's Cookie taking the leads ahead of McCrew, Oysen and Jacob jumping up to 4th ahead of B. Morgan. Gary jumps up 1 position ahead of Maledictus. Exceldan is in P8 and then it's Nico and Supergame right now to 10.
And the racing will resume very, very soon, I suspect. And these guys got to be ready. It may go onto the straight, and the guy that times it well may be able to get a jump there, but it doesn't look like it's gone at the front. Does Gary have a run at B. Morgan? I don't think he's going to be close enough to pull anything. Of course, no DRS for these guys. So they're going to have to, if they want to overtake guys, they're going to have to do it the old-fashioned way. And I don't think there's going to be any moves going down into turn 14, except maybe Matty. He closes down on Rick. And further behind there, Carmentos is down the inside. Oh, Daniel there tries to convert it there. Daniel's still on the inside of the 15, has to back off. And hard to work now, maybe searching. He's up 3 places off that start, so he may try and convert that there, but he's not close enough to make anything work. I see Carl a little bit offline there. That is a hard work there. He may lose. He's going to be wheel to wheel. Daniel a little bit off, and he's going to pull into the pit, so he must have had damage. So he's going to regress in this race. But Cookie Games leads after the first lap there. It's been a dream start from him. He holds your lead then at the end of lap 1.
Yes, you see a lot of breaking the toe going on as well. People just trying to get out of slipstream, especially at the front. Maledictus has lost a bit of time, so there seems to be a top 6 here now. Don't think any move down into turn 4 or 5 is going to happen, as no one's really close enough. But it looks to be all quite settled down, and on lap 2, that's the situation.
McCrew does look very pacey, just as he did in the first few laps of Singapore, because look, that's exactly what he was doing to Gary last time out. On the back of the race leader, Cookie Games. Cookie has got to stay focused, got to keep his nerve, because he cannot be relinquishing. Well, it's not too bad to lose out to McCrew at this stage, because we know the pace McCrew has, but he has to outscore Gary and Dan. It is an absolute must for him in this race. He will drive away, try and do everything he can to hold that lead. Gary looking pretty pacey as well. He's sitting close to Morgan, but ultimately it doesn't look like he has a straight line speed to convert. He's sitting comfortably back there, saving his ERS. A lot of these drivers are doing so in these early laps, and I think they're all just content to sit in a train. DRS will be activated very shortly, and McCrew, I think in particular, will be looking to pounce on Cookie Games' leads.
Yeah, meanwhile Maledictus is still struggling, but it seems to be back in DRS of Gary, which is quite vital to actually stay within contention of a good position here. So Cookie Games sets the fast lap of the race predictably. And let's see how the board size is yellows in sector 2, that is Maurice rounds.
Yeah, that's it.
He's
that's
round at turn 11.
Yeah. So he must have lost.
Can we see any move here? Down into turn 2.
Maledictus
down on the back.
Maledictus doesn't have DRS, so he's lost that advantage, and here we are under all sorts of pressure from the likes of Dan and Nico there, set on his rear wing. But now up at the front then, McCrew does run very wide going through turn 5, it's just about able to keep it off the wall. He's going to have to put together clean laps if he has to stay with Cookie and give himself a chance of moving forward. So this may be your closest on-track battle for now. McCrew though, he does look very fast in this middle sector. Just an early impression I've got. So he may look at trying to dispossess Cookie Games of that lead, but I don't know if it's going to be this lap unless he gets a very strong exit. Coming off of turn 11, Cookie gets away nicely, and I think he's safe. Is anyone else safe though? Maledictus may be under threat. Dan is going to have DRS activated there. Maledictus hasn't worked his way back in, so Dan now trying to close him down. Maledictus covers to the inside line now. He's going to try and do his teammate a favour by holding back a rival, but Dan, with so much overspeed, he's up through, and before the braking zone, runs a little bit wide through 14. Maledictus may fancy chances of coming back at him later on, but I don't think it's going to be into turn 16. Dan holds P7 for now, trying to hunt down the pack in front now.
And Oysen has broken the gap, the 1 second gap border basically to Jekyll there. As Oysen looks to be quite pacey as well, still hanging on to the back of his teammate. Is he close enough for a move? I doubt it, as McCrew will have to DRS himself as well. B. Morgan, is he close enough to Jaco? He's closing down into turn 2. Can he move towards the inside? He has a bit of a look.
Maledictus closing on to Dan. He's to the inside of turn 2. He's going to again hold it back. So Dan has to compromise his line. He stays ahead. Nico looks for a gap into turn 3. Doesn't quite open up. Maledictus covers it. He now looks to the outside of turn 4 as Maledictus. But I think he's turned the ERS down there. He doesn't look to try and get past Dan. But this is costing Dan vital time. He's got to try and get on it and chase down the cars in front. But that work from Maledictus defending and attacking, it's holding them all back there. And Dan is going to be frustrated then. Really difficult for him to make progress here with Maledictus hounding him in that battle for P7 at the moment.
Yeah, it's really doing his teammate a favour there. So the gap from Gary to Dan is 2.2 seconds. Up ahead is Gary down at the back of B. Morgan once again. 2 tenths the gap is. B. Morgan looks to be having a better exit out of turn 11. And I doubt any move will happen here.
Nico on Maledictus though, he's got a good run. He's got a heavy slipstream from the back of the Red Bull. What's Maledictus do? He opens up the inside line. Nico though turns down his ERS. Dylan behind also having a look at Super Gamer, but not fancying a run to the outside of turn 13 and to the inside of turn 14. Maledictus beginning to struggle with oversteering. Might have slight damage because he does seem to be struggling for pace quite a bit. Some very minor damage on that Red Bull holding back, but he still has DRS off of Dan for the time being, and there's an early pit stop from Oysen then, so that's going to free up McCrew as he looks to get a run on Cookie down towards turn 2. Can he get it done?
As he's on the back, Cookie trying to break the slipstream, but going extremely wide in turn 1. Let's see Cookie towards the inside, back towards
Morgan
the outside.
on Jaco.
Morgan getting past there, it looks like side by side.
Oh,
and
Jaco with a switchback. He's got him though.
Morgan has the inside line and looks to be maintaining the position here.
For the back, Matty and YHYY are going at it. Oysen did come into the pits, but YHYY swoops down the inside of Matty and he may complete it through turn 4 now to turn 5, but Matty doesn't give it up. Keeps the inside line at turn 5, pinched onto the apex by YHYY, who holds that position 10. But look at McCrew, he's absolutely hounding Cookie Games. Cookie cannot get rid of him there. Relentless pace from the Dutchman.
Gary and Jacob side by side into turn 9. Can this go well?
No way.
Ran the outside the Irishman twice. And Jacob holds the position but has lost a lot of time now. And Dan is now almost within a second again. But Gary on the back of Jacob, hound in the back of the McLaren. Dan into turn 13 and 14. Moves towards the outside. Can he make it work? Down to the braking zone. Jacob still ahead. Side by side they go. And it's Jacob staying ahead. Gary, can you look for the switchback? No, he can't. He stays behind.
That early pit stop from Oysen. I'm interested to see the dynamic that puts in our top 2. Cookie's looking towards the pit lane and he's going to do it. McCrew, last minute, goes to stay out there and then eventually comes in. I think he had to avoid contact with his rival for the lead. That gives Cookie a nice buffer at the front as Gary has also come in. So Gary also
and Nico is in as well, double stacking here for the racing points.
Oh, he's going to lose. Oh, he's definitely going to lose time from that then. That's unfortunate for Nico. That spreads out our front pack just a little bit. A lot of early pit stops.
Let's see what Oysen comes here though, because he's coming around to final couple corners. And Cookie's not at the pit yet. He's not reached the pit kilometer. Oysen made a strategic master call here. He's getting past McCrew at least. He is past McCrew.
It's going to be close.
He's jumped his teammate. He's maintained P1. Net P1 of course. That being. But Oysen has jumped McCrew here. And I think that mostly has to do with McCrew going wide there into the pit entry. Yeah,
I think so, yeah. So McCrew obviously lost quite a significant amount of time. The two would have been dicing, I think, going into turn 2 rather, if that wasn't the case. But now, Oysen's got a real task in his hands. He's got to try and stay with Cookie. We know he's got pace, but he's got to try and stay with tires. That's not going to help him. Runs wide, just slightly. Going it through at turn 6. I'm looking further back. There's a good battle raging still between Matty and YHYY. They run together on track. Then further back, Harry Ward maybe under pressure from Mark. But of course that DRS is going to assist him and he will stay ahead. What do the leaders do for strategy? Morgan is navigating turn 17 now. Of course he's seen a lot of his rivals coming into the pit lane. I think he's going to stay out. No, late call to dive in. And what does Dan do? Dan is forced to stay out and take these tyres longer. He's got, well, to be fair, he's a lot of early pit stops given the tyre deg at this track. But I think all these guys are going to be in, besides Dan and Super Gamer, who stays out there. So Dan inherits your race lead, but he may lose out the grand scheme of things due to people doing that undercut.
And Oysen is still having the back of Cookie Games there. Let's see where this guys actually come out. I think they'll be between Gary and this league group really. But Cookie breaking the slipstream, looks to have good straight line speed here. So Oysen is having the DRS, but no way he's close enough for a move down into turn 2. And Jacob has jumped B Morgan in the pits. Yeah. So B Morgan must have.
Oh, it's going to be close behind. Gary is just in front of Maledictus. Maledictus has managed to make a good approach there. He's now up onto the back of XL Gary, who must have had maybe been held up in the pits or something. He was with Morgan. And that's going to give Dan an opportunity. Can he get out close to or in front of Gary? Because he was in front of Maledictus. So I won't count Dan out then as well. He has the pit soon if he wants to stay up there. But at the moment, you never know. He could come out right in contention in this race with his championship rival Gary.
Yeah, that could definitely happen. And what is Maledictus going to play in this kind of situation for a role? As of course we saw him holding up Dan a bit. Let's see, can he do the same with Gary? So, I'm expecting something will happen in that kind of situation. Oysen still on the back of Cookie Games. I don't think he's close enough.
Cookie Games is going to have one hard time keeping these Williams behind. Dan is into the pits. Super Gamer continues to stay out, so he now inherits your race lead on track. So Dan is in, and it's going to be an intriguing tale. Where will he come out? Carmentos as well may come under pressure from Higher Noir. Got to keep a close eye on that on-track battle then. Mark is still with them as well, so DRS open for Higher Noir. Going to close down on this straight then. On the back of the Toro Rosso there. Does he pull to the inside towards turn 2? Yes, he does, and I think he's going to get his nose ahead. But now, further down, Dan now, where is he going to emerge in this battle? Coming out the pits now, opens up the taps, gets the power forward. Here comes Gary. Gary's going to jump him, I think. They're going to be wheel to wheel. 2 championship contenders towards turn 2, and I think Gary may just jump him. Yes, Gary ahead. Maledictus trying to put him off. He's round the outside of turn 2, goes off track, still side by side with Dan. Dan round the inside of turn 4 will be furious with Maledictus. Holds it round. Now he has the inside of the turn 5, but breaks early. Maledictus a little bit dodgy, but he holds P13 there. Dan will be furious.
He will definitely be not liking that, as he's got a teammate of his championship rival between himself and the other championship rival, so that's gonna be quite interesting how that pays off. Yes, Oysen on the back of Cookie Games, down into turn 11. Cookie has straight line speed, we have seen, but does he have against the DRS? Oysen coming close to the wall there. And don't have McCrew of this either, as he's quite close, but I don't think Oysen's close enough to Cookie Games. Cookie Games breaks later and stays ahead.
Cookie getting very good exits off the critical traction zones to be able to keep that lead. He always gets a nice exit there, and Oysen's going to have to pull some together. But these two Williams, they're frustrating Cookie. He wants to go out there and run his own race, and he's being denied that opportunity. All the championship rivals have had to put up with adversity, and now we're going to see what these guys are really made of. Can't they pull through? Gary chasing down B Morgan. He was outside that DRS. Now he's inside it there. He's searching for that. This will be your on track battle there. Carmentos says to the outside. Penalty for Gary. Is that going to play a role? Round the outside goes Carmentos on Harry Noir and gets the move done into P4. Is Harry going to try and fight back at him? He's tucked in underneath the rear wing. Pulls to the outside now inside of turn 5. Breaks later than the Toro Rosso. Keeps his nose alongside through the corner with the Toro Rosso, but cannot get ahead of the Toro Rosso there. Sets behind in at P5. Carmentos, the great move as McCrew getting very close to the back of his teammate Oysen. These guys have got to be careful they don't squabble too much or they'll lose contact with Cookie Games and lose that DRS. Cookie is going to try and establish himself now. The gap 7/10 between the leaders.
And as you saw, Gary pick up the time penalty, and he'll be looking quite feisty, I reckon, as he's under the back of B Morgan and looking to be pushing through. It has a bit of a look down into turn 9 even, so he is really looking to get past here, the Mercedes ahead of the Racing Point. And again, a teammate of a championship rival interfering here. But it's Gary onto the back of B Morgan with the DRS open. Can he get past? Moves towards the inside, which will turn into the outside. B Morgan and just stays behind there. And Gary taking that P11 then from the Mercedes driver. So two Williams is still on the back of Cookie. but the gap is almost a second. Oisin looking to be a bit off base here.
Well, he has a lap older tyres, so it won't be much of a factor now, but it will be later on in the race. Cookie trying to take advantage of that there. He's holding on as a Super Gamer. Still out there on those softs, yields the lead to his teammate. As further back, Mark has a little looking to try and get past the Greek car in Morgan the Renault, who's able to hold on. Just picks up a penalty though for his troubles. Morgan may try and come back at Gary then towards turn 1, but he turns down his ERS. Dan is the one that's got to make progress there. He's watched his championship rival get through on several cars. Maledictus of course getting in the way of his charge, as now that DRS has brought Oisin right back into play. But look at McCrew, I think he's Oisin with a penalty, so that could affect him. But I think McCrew actually has the best race pace out of these three, but he's the last one in the train, so he's got to try and work his way through. And of course with DRS, Oisin's going to stay afloat, but I think McCrew is with a real chance there on raw pace. He seems to be the fastest driver out there.
Yeah, but of course he needs to get past on that safe team orders will be put in place here for the Williams drivers. And if McCrew is really fast, does Oisin let him through, or does he go for his own luck? As been said before, McCrew having the pace though, look like, and having the exit out of turn 11. Let's see, he's close to the back of his teammate, but has turned his ERS down, so I don't think a move will be happening down into turn 14 and stays behind.
These guys don't want to cost each other too many times. Cookie seems to be losing time to these guys in turn 14. I've noticed Oisin's able to manage those brakes a little bit better and close up that gap. The gap between these guys to J. Cole is about 4 seconds, so they've run away quite nicely. Super Gamer finally comes into the pits. He'll relinquish a lot of track position, but he will have pretty solid tyres, as now Oisin, he's much closer to Cookie Games than he was in this last lap, but Cookie is always so good out of turn 11 and turn 19, and immediately moves to break the slipstream. All these guys struggling for ERS apart from McCrew. He's done a good job managing that there. Oisin with DRS, he's closer this time round. Stronger slipstream for the Williams there, closing down all the time.
I don't hear you anymore. Oisin's still on the back of Cookie. I think, yeah, I hear you now again.
Yes.
I don't know what's happened there, but it's good now. As Oisin is still down the inside of turn 6. Cookie, he gets past, and McCrew gets past as well there.
The two Williams go into the lead. I'm so sorry, my controller disconnected. That's why you had the audio cutting out. I do apologise sincerely for that, because I wasn't able to cover that battle. But Cookie Games is relegated, and now McCrew has a clear run at trying to get this net race lead off of his teammate Oisin. Does Oisin bother fighting it then? They come out of turn 11 for the 11th time. Now Oisin is going to cover towards the inside, but McCrew, it might be futile for the Irishman. McCrew up and alongside and through on Oisin there. He gets the move done, and Cookie is going to have to try and fight back. That mistake, getting forced out wide, he loses out, and now it's a battle between these two Williams drivers. Of course, Oisin has the penalty, but of course that situation could all change. He'll be eager to try and retake that lead, but McCrew gets the moves done, takes advantage of his opportunities, and now he's looking really strong there in that net race lead. Can he hold on to it?
Yeah, and one thing that's going to be interesting is they're approaching the medium runners. 3 seconds from Mark to McCrew. And McCrew breaking the toe here once again on his teammate. His teammate's going to try anything on McCrew. It seems to be it. And McCrew lags forward a bit, but they're side by side going down into turn 2. Oisin looks to be getting past. And yes, he is. And McCrew can't fight back. Cookie hounding the back as well, still looking to get past. But I don't think down into turn 5 it will be an opportunity. So that's gonna say like it is. Gary's now on the back of Jekyll as well. Gotta keep an eye on that as well. Gary looks to be quite pacey. One thing I've noticed as well is it's getting quite overcast, so could we be on for some weather changing conditions quite soon, or is it just gonna stay cloudy? We'll have to find out. As there's 15.5 laps remaining here in the Russian Grand Prix.
Yeah, those medium runners can come into play later on, but McCrew is going to look to try and strike back. These guys trading possessions off the DRS at the moment, but McCrew's turned it down, so I don't think he's interested in him. Oisin is still on hot lap and now eventually turns it down. McCrew could have very easily got past, but I think he's going to conserve and try and blast away when he can. Gary trying to get up to him. That is looking a bit... Jekyll's wide! Jekyll wide through turn 14. Gary trying to promote himself through turn 15. Runs a little bit wide, but he is into P9. So Gary gets that move done. Finally on Jekyll after the mistake. He's 3 and a bit seconds behind. He's got to try and make the most of it there. And I almost swore there's going to be rain falling. The conditions have evolved so much. And of course, that could seriously change the dynamic. These top 5 drivers may not be out of this just yet.
Yeah, but look at McCrew once again, having the back of Oysen, looking to be getting past here. Down into turn 2, maybe even before. And yes, it is before, and he is passed down into turn 2. McCrew back into the lead, as Oysen and Cookie are still there in behind.
Yeah, McCrew now, he's going to try and use that ERS advantage, maybe try and gap him, but Oysen, we've seen he has got pace. Can he stay with his teammate through these next few laps? McCrew running a little bit wide through turn 5 there, is going to keep it on. And now, Cookie Games, we know he'll be frustrated losing those 2 places in quick succession. He's now the car, like McCrew was earlier, at the back of the DRS train. Nothing he can really do. He has the proper mistakes, and there's a mistake from Cookie. The rain's starting to come down. So now, Matty could be a contender for this one now. He's your leading medium runner. Rain starts to come down. Penalty for Cookie. McCrew is not out of this one either there, but now rain drops. What happens now in this race?
And one thing I like to point out is White for White is usually quite good in the rain, so let's see what he can do. Well.
Yes, indeed. So, when does the crossover point occur then? Of course, now
these Dan is down the inside of Maledictus.
Whoa!
Oh, just backs out of that in time. He might have overshot his brakes. I'm not too sure about that, but he maintains behind the rep driver there.
Indeed he does. We're on to lap 14 in this race. It's not quite the crossover point just yet. McCrew is climbing onto the back of the tail end of these medium starters then. But now Oysen, he's not quite as close as he was. McCrew now, again, as I mentioned, using that ERS to try and pull clear. Oysen's got a lot of overspeed though, a lot of straight line speed, chasing down his teammate, feints to the inside, but doesn't go for any sort of moves. Dan is looking pretty pacey, but he's not able to use it. Still bottlenecked up with Maledictus. He's going to be so frustrated by the Red Bull there, and still has Teal behind him. Because Dan himself is pretty good in the rain. And we know Gary was able to pull it out at Spa, so he may not be out of it. He is actually the fastest car on track, or very close to it, I think. He's chasing down these top 3.
Yeah, McCrew is now on the back of Mark, so this could get very feisty, as Mark is not one to give up a position easily, as we quite know from Singapore. But yeah, McCrew on the back of the Ferrari driver. Mark himself not in DRS, it looks like. So he'll be defenseless against the Williams driver. Has a decent exit out of turn number 11 there. Oysen, is he close enough for a move? It doesn't look like it, as McCrew of course has the DRS now as well. And looks to be stay at it. But the rain is coming down a bit harder, but not nearly enough for the crossover point. Let's see how this pans out in the next coming laps.
McCrew hounding Mark. He's going to have to try and get past the Ferrari as soon as he can. Mark has lost that DRS, as you mentioned, the cars ahead. Now, can Oysen follow through? He's not far off there. Cookie's a little bit adrift. So Mark trying to work his way back in that DRS, but I don't think he's quite going to claim it. So McCrew has a chance of getting past the Ferrari. We know how good Mark is in defending. He never gives up a place, and he may have enough straight line speed to stay afloat there. DRS will be activated for McCrew. Here he comes. This will be huge for him if he puts some car to himself and his teammate. He's to the inside of turn 2. Has he got Mark? He breaks very late. Too late now, but he's just been able to get it stopped. Mark forced to yield that behind him there. Has to set off the back. Does Oysen fancy his chances there? Mark runs wide through turn 4 there with a lack of grip. Oysen alongside the Ferrari. Wheel to wheel with the Ferrari on the outside. But can he complete it? Keeps it on track just about. He's wheel to wheel with Mark into turn 6. Mark again, not giving up, but much later with the brakes. Oysen, but too late. He runs wide. Oysen off the track. Comes back on. Almost wheel to wheel with Mark. Mark back alongside him into turn 8 now. He's got the light into the corner with Oysen with more grip. Round the outside. This is spectacular. Can he complete it? Mark has to yield it behind. Gets a penalty. Does Maledictus. Wow, what have I just seen? Oysen had to fight for that one and eventually gets Mark. Now Cookie has got to try and follow through. So now Mark, he's looking a little bit wary there. The rear end of that Ferrari looking vulnerable. Here comes Cookie Games. He needs this if he wants to follow through. Mark as well closing down Oysen. Almost runs into the back of the Williams. Cookie has to get well out of the throttle there. Mark almost coming down the inside of Oysen there. What is going on in this fight? And this is allowing McCrew to run up ahead. Now here comes Cookie. He's alongside Mark going down into turn 16, but Mark holds the place just about. What incredible racing was that? Oysen has to get through, and now McCrew onto the back of Carmentos and Harry now in this battle for P3.
Yeah, and this yellow says I think it's Super Gamer's round. I think he came into contact with Dylan there behind and needs to recover. Doesn't look like he has any major damage though. But yeah, it's Cookie still on the back of Mark. Can he get past? Mark doesn't have any sort of DRS. And the Red Bull driver seems to have an easy move, but is it ever an easy move on Mark? Looks to be this time out though, as he gets past onto turn 2 and needs to hound down the Williams drivers up ahead once again. McCrew is in traffic. Carmentelis now in a work, sitting there in front of the Williams driver.
DRS
and
still
is
active
going to kiss him.
DRS still active in this race, so it will not be easy for McCrew. And this is a chance for Oysen to get himself back in. Cookie as well, trying to get to that DRS in that range of the Williams. Look at the extra grip that McCrew has there. He may try it in turn 9, feints to the inside, but there's no move. Gets a much better run though through turn 9 and 10 to the outside of Harry, but doesn't get the momentum. But now he's going to have to sit there. Can he get a better exit relative to the Renault there? So pretty decent exit for Harry, but now McCrew's got a lot of slipstream around DRS overtake mode as well. He's interested, he wants to try and get this move done. Harry covers hard to the inside there, he doesn't want to give this up there. McCrew's to the inside of 13, outside of 14. Harry's still got the inside line, they're wheel to wheel touching slightly. Harry loses it on the traction, McCrew's up to 4th there with a hard fought move, almost goes round at turn 15, but he is up to 4th. Carmentelis the next car up on the road, as now Oysen's worked himself onto the back of this train as well. McCrew takes 4th then on the road.
Yeah, Cookie looking a bit off pace in these changeable conditions. Why picks up a penalty. Yeah, Oysen on the back of Harry and Warwick, the same Williams car on the back of Carmentelis as well. And I think McCrew, as Carmentelis does have a good exit, it's going to be tough for McCrew to get past here. I think Oysen is more likely to get past. He moves towards the inside, down into turn 2. And can complete the move on the brakes. He's late.
He's hanging it right outside. No, it gets forced off there, just Harry and Warwick. So Oysen takes 5th and he's in that within 1 second of his teammate now.
Yeah, and Cookie Games looking to get past as well shortly then. But McCrew still on the back of Carmentelis. Will be tough to get past here. Sector 2 as Maledictus gets past B. Morgan. Side by side into turn 4. That's quite an overtake if that was around the outside, because I saw him on the outside there. So yeah, Maledictus into P11 as Carmentelis does pick up a time penalty there. Down into turn 8 dies. But yeah, Cookie on the back of Harry and Warwick. Meanwhile, McCrew on the back of Carmentelis. Few battles unfolding here. Even the Mercedes drivers close together as well. But yeah, McCrew on the back of Carmentelis on the back straight. Is he close enough? It doesn't look like it.
Turn to ZRS there. So
yeah,
he will not be going for the move. One man who might be going for the move is Dan, then on his teammate. Morgan's still at DRS and he's not relinquishing it too easily, you know. He may even be defending slightly to the inside. He's not letting him through. Dan has to set him behind his teammate there. But Morgan very late on the brakes. He's going to run wide to turn 14. And now the 15 there. Morgan almost round. Cost Dan a heap load of time. The Mercedes almost coming to blows. And Morgan recovers. That could have been very nasty down there.
And even Oysen is into the pits.
Wow. Oh my, so Oysen,
onto the inters.
That's a huge risk. I saw Super Gamer was in, he's lost a lot of time,
Mark's
almost 10
in the
seconds. Gambling on strategy. We've got to keep an eye on that DRS call there as Cookie right there with Aaron Warwick. Now to the outside of turn 1, I think he may have him on the run towards turn 2 there. He's got that DRS advantage. Maurice is out the session. Is that going to mean anything for safety cars? I'm not sure. Cookie's run by.
Safety car.
Full safety car. Now.
That's going to be interesting, especially with the weather changing conditions. Are people going to gamble onto those inters?
Oysen may have lost out here.
It does look like that shortly, as Mauricio has lost it out of turn 5. Maybe hit the wall, not too sure. But yeah, Matty and White for Y, and also Carmentelis as well. They are winning here massively. They're the top 3 currently.
Yeah.
And looking in a decent position here for a good result.
Is the rain calming down? Is the rain calming down for you?
It is. It is. It's not really hard, but it's on the crossover point, I'd say. Are they gonna gamble on the inters? Or maybe it'll just dry up once again.
It might be too much of a risk. I don't know.
We'll have to see about that in a bit. We'll have to follow Matty, I guess, to actually see what happens as Super Gamers a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane.
Right.
Yeah, are these guys gonna go for the inters, or maybe just go for softs to be safe?
I think there will be a pit stop regardless. There will be a pit stop because here comes Matty. He pulls in. He will relinquish track position. How many drivers pit? Whitehall falls in. I expect Carmentos to as well. It's McCrew that's the interesting one there. I see the direction of his car. He is into the pits. McCrew is in, and I think they're all going to come in. So, what are the tyre choices amongst these guys? What a dynamic here in this
stays out.
J. Cole stays out. He's taking the gamble. He can afford to not pit. J. Cole, I think, will inherit the race lead.
I'm seeing Intus on Matty. I see Intus with White. Carmental is looking. I think everyone's gonna go into Intus. I don't see anyone going on to softs. As Harry gonna work. I can say that. Gambles onto the softs and get somehow ahead of Cookie Games. See, I don't know if he was ahead, but yeah, it looked like that. And now, I want to say, Cookie Games and Gary are still quite close together.
Oyson's actually come out alright from this, you know, because he's still right on the back of his teammates, so he's done quite well. J. Cole, now, he is going to be praying to every god that he knows that the rain does not fall down any heavier, and he'll be able to keep that advantage. Of course, we've still got a few laps for the conditions to evolve. Harren O'Harg has taken a massive risk, as has J. Cole. So, that is going to be one thing to look out for. They will either cruise to an easy 1-2, or they will suffer and drop to the back of the field. That is what you got to love about D2, that unpredictability. As now J. Cole on the back of the safety car. The rain, there is races sometimes, so the rain never falls down heavy enough to go into enters. Is this the day where J. Cole and Harren O'Harg have made the right call and stolen away a race win?
Just looking on board with some cars, I don't think J. Cole's gambles right here, but we'll have to see about that. So if you want, I can go for the penalty situation for a bit.
That'd be great, yeah.
Yeah, so J. Cole is on 2 warnings currently. Matty is only on 1 warning, so he looks up in a decent position. White on 1 penalty. Carmental is on 1 penalty. McCrew on 1 warning, so he seems to be doing quite decently there. Oyson on 1 penalty. Harren O'Harg has 2 penalties, plus a 5-second time penalty, so he's not looking too great. Cookie on 1 penalty and a warning. Gary is on a penalty and 2 warnings, so he's got to watch out. Mark on a penalty and 2 warnings. Maledict is on a penalty. B. Morgan is on 2 warnings. Axel Dan is completely clean, as we like to see from him often. Dylan on a penalty and a warning. Rick is on 2 warnings. Kilble is still in this on 1 warning. Nico on 2 warnings, and Daniel is on 2 warnings. Dipper Gamer on 1 warning and a 5-second time penalty.
I'm keeping a close eye on this race. It seems to be going back and forth here. To the
Dylan
last...
is in the pits again, by the way.
Interesting. Maybe he's got wing damage, I'm not sure. Because that seems
possibly,
like...
let's have a look. I think he
does.
does.
Wing tricks, yep.
Yeah, that makes sense. He's gonna drop down a couple positions. Yeah, the rain is it's looking quite stable on this, but I'm not sure. I am not sure about it at all.
Because there's no evidence to suggest that the enters were quicker at any point. Super Gamer tried them before the safety car and it didn't work out at all. But of course, with the rain persisting down, the track will continue to get wet. I do not know. But well does come through here. You got to respect J. Cole and Harren O'Harg for taking this risk. J. Cole, of course, has much worse tyres than Harry, so Harren O'Harg might well win this race. He does have penalties though. But oh wow. D2,
yeah.
D2. But Super Gamer is
and
so
if
far
someone
back,
gambles to go, who knows, someone might go back onto the race, as it's still only 7 laps to go. Who knows what's gonna happen in Sochi here. So let's see. I don't know if the safety is gonna go in this lap or the next lap. So there are a few drivers still to catch up.
I think with Super Gamer, it may go in the next lap. We'll have to keep an eye out on that one. But I want to get some predictions in the chat. J. Cole and Harry, do you think they'll prosper? Or do you think they'll suffer? That's the questions that we've all got to be asking right now. As yeah, Super Gamer's only going through turn 6 right now, so yeah, I think that he will take a while before he gets onto it. So we will get back to racing, presumably on lap 21 of this Russia Grand Prix. It's been a fascinating race so far, and right now we have probably the most interesting strategy dynamic we may have seen the entire season, with cars on completely different compounds of tyres, not just softs and mediums, like literally slicks and groove tyres. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, and with the conditions being right in the middle, who knows it's gonna pay off.
Well, I've seen a prediction. Matt Emery saying they're going to drop right like flies. Well, you never know. They could move through. Of course, the moment of truth will come in probably a few minutes' time. And yeah, I think we're all going to have to be watching, waiting, eager to go. And yeah, so of course we know the penalty situation. So what you say? Most of the top runners are clean, right? I think Carmentelis.
They're quite clean.
Yeah.
Carmentelis has a penalty. McCrue's clean. Matty's clean. Jekyll's clean. I think the rest has all at least a penalty. I'm just looking down. I think the Mercedes guys are clean. Pretty sure about that, and a few at the back as well, being clean. So yeah, a few drivers with penalties, but no major penalties except for maybe Harry Noark.
Yeah, and of course, if the strategy does not work, then it's pretty much a disaster for Harry with the penalties. That's pretty much going to compound his woes. The rain is staying remarkably consistent, isn't it? It's just like this very light trend that we're seeing all the way through. Not really changing much. Not really any adjustment in the conditions.
Yeah. I do think the Inters are on the advantage here. I see a bit more spray kicking up every single lap. Yeah, it's. I can't see the slicks being better here. I just can't. Let's see how it pays off. As the safety car will probably be going in this lap, and there's the confirmation. It's Jake leading the pack on 14 laps of mediums in Inters conditions. Let's see how this goes on.
You cannot envy the guy right now. But anyway, backing them up. This is a real moment of truth in this Russian Grand Prix. Of course, he's going to have to be careful on the traction then. Well, he doesn't know the tyres may be too cold for him to really operate them on this restart. But now he's doing everything he can to slow them down behind him. Anytime can he go. Backs off, safety cars into the pit lane now. He's free to dictate the restart. Matty's eager, looking for a decision from the Brit, and he's really struggling for traction. I think it's not worked at all then. Harry Noark's already dropping us into the pits. It's not the right decision. The Inters are far quicker, but Matty's caught behind. So why am I taking advantage there? Jekyll, it's the gamble has not paid off. And Carmentelis has a great run. He's right inside. They're almost 3 wide for the lead. They may go 3 wide at turn 1. Watch why tucks into the slipstream. Now to the inside of Matty. Gambles for the race lead. Breaks very late and runs wide. Forces Matty out wide. Now Carmentelis is to the outside of watch why. Into turn 4, tries to hold it round the outside of the Haas. No, it's not going to pay off then. Watch why parks it on the inside, and he will maintain the race lead. Oysen on the inside, he makes contact.
Down inside of McCrew, as Jekyll drops completely back through the grid. Cookie is looking at the inside of McCrew there. As Marcus dropped off a bit, and they have a 7-car lead train, but everyone is still so close. It end up in quite a bit of tears if you're not careful. Let's see, White leading the pack ahead of Carmentelis and Matty now. And Oysen and McCrew looking in behind. Cookie Games and Gary, of course, still there.
Yeah,
let's see. Down onto the straight, any moves.
I was just going to point out who's running in 2nd and 7th. Now Gary has a chance of getting past Cookie on track now. They're battling further back. This looks to be a close on track battle. Nico is past Dylan on the back straight towards turn 14, but Dylan's going to try and come back at him there. To the outside of 13 and inside of 14 there. Onto the brakes they go. The racing point and the Toro Rosso wheel to wheel through 14 there. Nico forced a little bit wide. Still has the inside line. Backs off. Dylan's going to run a little bit wide, and they may still be side by side. They are still side by side, but Nico wins the place. He takes 14th then with a heavy fight from Iro Dillon. Now up at the front, watch for trying to extend that there. It's Oysen who's now, he's got to try and make his way through. He's side by side with Matty into the final corner. Matty, a little bit of a contact between them there. Matty's forced off the line then. It's not been the restart he would have hoped for. He looked like he was going to take the lead. Now he's going to try and come back at Oysen now. Down through turn 1 and now towards turn 2 up behind the Williams. Tucks in the slipstream. Does he pull out? Looking to turn 2 to the inside. No, I don't think that's going to be any move. As now 2 championship rivals getting very up close and personal on track behind.
And Kilblue and Dan going side by side. Kilblue getting through on the championship contender as Matty is trying it round the outside of Oysen. That can't go well. McCrew looking towards the outside of turn 5, looking for the switch back here. And
good
looks to be
exit.
getting it, and Cookie, can he get through as well? Don't think so. McCrew looks to be getting past. They're still side by side down into turn 6.
Contact! Ooh.
Bit of contact, quite dodgy there, but let's see how this pays off. Matty staying ahead for now.
Oh, Cookie and Gary, the wait impatiently sitting behind at the moment. They're hoisting now with P3. Looks like he's got good pace in these wet conditions. Can he make the most of it there? He's got 2 overtakes to make. Watch why. I'm not sure if there's I think he's clean. Carmentos has a penalty. Oyston has a penalty. Watch why is looking good for this. It has to be said.
Watch
at this moment
does
in
have
time.
a penalty.
He does have a penalty.
So, yeah, he did have a penalty, but he seems to be 3 seconds clear of the next car who doesn't have a penalty, which is Matty.
As McCrew is very wide. And now he's going to come under pressure from Cookie Games. Can the Slovenian get a run? He gets oversteer and loses his chance. He doesn't drop back to Gary. So Gary unable to take advantage of that. Not quite close enough to make any sort of manoeuvre. The field's so close in these wet conditions there. They're fighting for grip out there. And McCrew doesn't look massively quick. Cookie has got to try and dispossess him. Get a car between himself and Gary. That's battle for P5 is just as important as the ones up ahead. As McCrew picks up the penalty.
That's quite fight as well. Now it's just Matty in the top 7, 8, and actually top 9 who doesn't have a penalty. And Oyston on the back of Commentalist and White Hawaii has a 2-second gap. This looks really good for the Haas driver there.
But of course it's not. Gary picks up a penalty as well. This field is so close. Any penalty could set these guys back. They have to be so careful. It's hard for these guys to really follow. Killer Blue looks like he's got good pace in these wet conditions. He now up into the back of the other Mercedes of Morgan. Not close enough into turn 5 to make anything happen there on the Mercedes. Gets a good run, closing it down in turn at 6 there, and further back and further up the road a little bit. Maledictus looking for a move on Mark then. As further back, Super Gamer is on the inside of Dylan. Make contact. Dylan forces the Alfa Romeo out wide. They touch a little bit going through turn 7. They got to be careful. On the inside now is Dylan. He has 15th place. It's the closest battle on track as Jaco picks up a penalty. Compound his woes. Wow, it's hard to keep up with everything there. Maledictus and Mark. This looks like a spicy on-track battle then. The Ferrari is wide out of turn 11. Maledictus puts it up to overtake mode. They're trying to close down the Ferrari towards turn 13 and 14 there, further up the road. Gary is looking at Cookie Games. Cookie has to get on the defensive as Maledictus a lunge on Mark to the inside. No, he's not going to come off. Mark keeps that 8th place, but it's a furious battle between these two. And now, the battle of the championship contenders. He can cut the tension with a knife. Gary has had chances getting past Cookie, not paid off for now, but it can all change there. As now, Matty is...
Oh, sorry. Mala looking once again down to turn 18, not looking for a move though. Let's see. On to the next race. It's this Yellows and this Dylan and Daniel round. They have come into contact, I think. Maledictus on the back of Mark. Can he do something down into turn 2? Don't think anywhere up ahead is going to make a move. So let's see. Mala looking on the back. Let's see. Can he make a move? Launches down the inside of turn 2. Gets leave space and Dylan gets a 5-second time between. Mark stays ahead here. Dylan retiring from the session there. As Mal is once again looking on the back, can't get through Mark. As Mark's known to be good at defending and knows to be good at the wet, so good luck Maledictus to get past this Ferrari driver. Will be quite tough for the Portuguese man.
Morgan Wade, that's going to put Killer Blue up and alongside him there in the Ferrari and Mercedes do battle, but I think it's Killer Blue's advantage. He's up in a 10th place there past the 2 Mercedes. Dan looks like he's going to get a relatively low haul of points then, and still 2 championship contenders, both with penalties, jostling over that P6 for the moment there. Is Matty clean though? That's one question.
Yeah,
I have in mind. But my go on.
Yeah, it looks like Matty is up for a P2 here. But White looking in the lead as he has a 3-second gap to Commentalist. So he's looking very good and very pacey as always in the wet.
Oh, it's Maledictus.
Maledictus. Oh, I saw that. As I said, White.
Morgan tries to double overtake it, loses out. They split either side of him there, Dan and Rick. Oyston with another penalty. That could put him right into the depths of this field there, this train. As Maledictus gets through on Killer Blue, he now runs 9th. As now this battle here, I tell you what, Matty does look quick. If he's able to dispatch the 2 cars in front of him, he may still have a chance, but I think Watch YY may have gap there. He's had a decent enough season there. As Gary on Cookie. Could this be a... He's closing him down. Gary on Cookie there. The championship rivals. Late defensive move from Cookie, but Gary has the inside line. They almost come together. And Cookie is able to hold that second place. Gary a bit hesitant with the move as Killer Blue and Maledictus come together at turn 2. And they allow Dan and Rick through behind them there. Maledictus coming to blows with Killer Blue down there at turn 3 there. And that promotes Dan up to 9th. And Rick to 10th. As still, Gary of course losing out a little bit of time, but yeah, more controversy down there, an incident between two guys that were fighting well, and now that's kind of, I don't know what the dynamic's going to be in this race. He's got a lap and a half to go there, and they're all stacking up behind Parmentalist. Can Oysen, he has that penalty though, as Harren Org is out of the session. And yeah, wow, I don't know what to say anymore. This has been quite dramatic.
It has been, but yeah, still the train behind Commentalist, but it's hard to get past. Oysen does have a bit of a run. Can he go for anything down into turn 14? He's looking at it. Can he go for a lunge? No, he doesn't go for it.
Matty's going to go for a lunge. Then the intended contact, and he hits McCrew. And Cookie's able to avoid. Gary's able to avoid. Cookie Games now in with the show. Of course, McCrew has penalty as well, so Cookie may still get a podium from this race. He has an outside chance of it as he tries to hunt him down. So McCrew and Cookie, this has been the battle all the way through. Gary looks like he's not quite going to get there. We're going to start the final lap. Watch why has driven such a perfect final stint. He leads the race by 4.2, and I think at the moment with Matty now out of it, he can just cruise home and savour this race win.
Yeah, look at Cookie here. He's on the back of McCrew, and Gary not looking too far off either. Let's see how this pays off. Maledictus getting a time penalty. Cookie on the back of McCrew. Down into turn 2. I don't think he's close enough.
He's much later on the brakes. He's got to be careful. Ooh, that's just looking at Cookie Games. He's not able to get it stopped. He's got to be careful though. I think he'll take a position ahead of Gary, but if that opportunity presents itself, which it might well be, because he's got an inside of McCrew to make contact on the final lap. Cookie just saves it. Oh my word. Get McCrew with wing damage, running way through turn 4, and they almost came to blows. I tell you what, Cookie Games, what a save. And he keeps 5th place, but Gary may still have an outside chance. Cookie making mistakes. Gary, can he potentially sneak some points away from his championship rival Cookie Games?
Now a penalty, that's going to be vital, and that might give away the podium really to McCrew and Cookie, as they only have 3 seconds. It's going to be very close, as the gap from Commentalist to McCrew is about 3 seconds.
Oh, that is
so. Let's see. Cookie having a better exit on McCrew. Let's see. Can he get past down at turn 14? He has to run on the back straight. And let's see. Close enough to the back of the Williams driver. Down the inside or outside. He picks outside.
He's hesitant. He goes to the outside. The turn 14 runs wide. Now, is that McCrew's out wide as well? He's going to hold him up. Gary Donegan is within contention. Cookie round. He makes a mistake. And now the two championship contenders wheel to wheel on the final lap will come up in front. Watch why is going to win this race. But now Cookie doing desperately trying to hold off Gary Donegan there on this final lap. Watch why glades into the final corner. He wins the Russian Grand Prix as Gary to the outside of Cookie. We're at the final 10. Cookie forces him out wide and slows down. He's run out of fuel. Cookie's run out of fuel. And Gary takes 5th on the line. And then on penalties, they all lose out to Matty. Gary had 6 seconds. What the hell was that?
Yeah, it's White taking the victory here ahead of Commentalist Oysen. This is quite an unpredictable podium here. McCrew in 4th place, driven a good race, and Matty in 5th. Then Cookie, Dan, Gary, championship rivals all there. And Mark in 9th, Rick in 10th, Nico in 11th, and Morgan round off the points ahead of Maledictus, Killer Blue, Super Gamer, and then it's Jacob and Daniel still to finish without a win.
Okay, I think I may have just lost my voice there in that final lap. I did go a little bit overboard, but what a conclusion to this Russian Grand Prix. The two, of course, it didn't matter now, but Cookie may have lost out a potential podium with this running out of fuel over the line, dropping out of that contention. And yet, well, McCrew, of course, with the 4th place, probably losing it. But watch why that wet pace was absolutely stunning. It was just in a complete other league, not getting penalties and just dominant stuff. Watch why thoroughly deserved win.
He definitely did, and yeah, I've said it before. He is so quick in the wet conditions, and he's made it work here in Russia. and I think takes his first victory here of the season. And that's good for the Finn here. Ahead of Carmentelis, who's driven a good race here as well. Gotta be said. Oysen in P3 showed incredible pace as well. What a race here. And I didn't think D2 could be any more exciting at this race.
Yeah, that was absolutely thrilling stuff right at the head as well. I love seeing Cookie and Gary go at it there. There's something about it there, it's like goosebump feeling. Watching those two guys, and Cookie with that running out of fuel, his heart must have been in his mouth in that final lap. But YHYY, a perfect last stint. He actually got a penalty, I didn't actually realise. Oh yeah, he did have a penalty, of course, I'm stupid. But anyway, he takes the win from Carmentelis. Oysen battled hard to get that P3, I have to say, just pepping his teammate McCrew by just over a tenth of a second. Matty, what could have been if it weren't for that spin? It would have been an easy P2, I think. Cookie Games gets 6th place despite running out of fuel. Dan with no penalties gets 7th there. He pulls points back on Gary, and I think he's within a race win of him. So that could spell well for his chances. Mark ends up 9th there again in the wars. Rick rounds out the top 10. Nico, Morgan, Maledictus, Killer Blue, Super Gamer, J. Cole, Daniel, the last of the finishers. Harren Warg, Dylan, and Maurice will round off the grid for yet another brilliant race here in Russia. It was a bit of a slow burner, but the end of it was something else. Great racing in these last few laps. And then all the championship contenders finishing about the same place on track. But I think it's a much needed boost for Cookie in outscoring his rivals, but it could have been so much more for him.
It definitely could have been. And once again, Dan being clean on penalties, doing a Dan thing there, and still getting ahead of Gary, and gains about 2 points on him. So I think the gap is now about, if I'm correct, it's 26 or 27. So it's not over yet.
No, it's certainly not.
With 4 rounds to go, that could really throw in the spice of things.
Indeed it could. The two championship fight, but still evolving. That will be round 15. We're getting into the business end of the season now. I believe it's just 4 races left to go, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So yeah, do not go anywhere. This championship is not over. But anyway, that is going to wrap up yet another great race here in D2 here at the Russian Grand Prix. And yeah, to round things off, I'm Medurka. He's been Verstappen. We'll see you next time.